dear viewers watching RTD's English News Edition. Here are our top stories. The Djiboutian delegation meets the International Finance Cooperation Group of the World Bank. And in the Middle East, a new Palestinian government dominated by Abbas followers. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. A delegation led by the Minister Delegate to the Minister of Housing, Urbanism and the Environment in charge of housing, Mrs. Amina Abdiadin, carried out a mission to the World Bank Group, including the International Finance Corporation, the World Bank and the Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency in Washington. The main objectives of this mission was to inform these institutions of the latest development, reforms initiated, ongoing projects, and in order to obtain their support for project funding. Zero Slum. After recognizing significant progress, the parties renewed their support for the project and promised to continue to work closely for its implementation. The minister took advantage of these meetings to thank her interlocutors for the support of the World Bank Group in the implementation of the government's priority actions, particularly in the area of habitat. The Djiboutian delegation met with JICA Senior Vice President in Washington, Mr. Hishori Keto. Discussions focused on zero and slum projects and other projects carried out by JICA in Djibouti and ways and means to strengthen cooperation between the Republic of Djibouti and Japan. The meeting was attended by the Finance Minister Ilyas Moussoudwale, Minister of Housing Mrs. Amina, Director of Urban Rehabilitation and Social Housing Agency, and Director of External Financing. And this time in China, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed, is currently in China, where he continues his meetings, including the group hire based in Qingdao, headquarters of the Chinese Giant. The various meetings allowed to be updated with the latest higher solutions in the field of education and ICT. A presentation that ended on Friday 12th with the signing of the contract, which will lead to the training of MENFOB technicians and pedagogical staff on the principles of what Higher calls integrated education for effective and efficient use of the smart classroom. The creation also of a professional center specialized in the digital professions and the transformation of a pilot high school in a smart high school and fully equipped by Higher with adapted digital solutions. In addition, the acquisition of 200 smart classrooms per year during the next 15 years was at the heart of discussions, and at the same time as the support of the Higher Group will provide to the MENFOB in any project aimed at strengthening the education system. The Minister of Education, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, accompanied by his strong delegation during his visit to China to sign partnership agreements with the Chinese company Higher for the acquisition of a smart classroom training of Djiboutian technicians for efficient use of the new technology. One of them, the inspector, Mrs. Muna Ismail and Abdo, who talked about the objective of their meeting with the Chinese company and the beneficial aspect it represents for the educational party. And in Japan, this time, were a signing ceremony of an agreement between the ambassador of Japan, Ahmed Arwaitali, and the president of Tokyo University, Dr. Katsumi Takano. This cooperative research agreement aims to launch joint research on sustainable water management for use in agriculture, livestock, and reforestation adapted to the arid region as part of the CETRIPS project in Djibouti. This research project on the advanced and sustainable use of water associated with the assessment of the greening potential has been selected for fiscal year 2018 and will be jointly funded by JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency, and GST, Japan Science and Technological Agency, up to $2.5 million. The president of Tokyo University of Agriculture emphasized that we are witnessing a new stage for, according to him, in a fruitful partnership in the service of environmental protection. The Minister of Energy, Oyonis Ali Gedi, received today the new ambassador of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia in Djibouti, Abdulaziz Mohammed, as part of a visit to the country. The Minister of Energy, assisted by the Acting Secretary General Abdul Karim Abdullahi Mohammed, welcomed the new ambassador. Discussions focused on the strong bilateral relations that Djibouti and Ethiopia maintain in strategic sectors of energy, They spoke in particular of the gas pipeline projects that has recently been ratified by both parties, the second line of electrical interconnection, the railway, and while emphasizing to this effect Djibouti and Ethiopia were a model of regional integration in East Africa. An extraordinary session of the Conference for the Heads of States of the Sahelo-Saharan States Community was held yesterday in N'Djamena under the chairmanship of the Chadian President. At this conference, the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, was represented by Mr. Musa Mohamed Ahmed, Minister of Housing and Environment, accompanied by Mr. Guelleh Idris Omar, Director of Multilateral Relations, and Mr. Hussein Virash, Director of Environment and Sustainable Development. The conference took note of the conclusions on the special sessions of the Executive Council, which reviewed the functioning and prospects of the community and the ways and means of consolidating the dynamics of this conference. The conference decided on the appointment of the Executive Secretary and his deputy for a term of 4 years and 42 senior officials, and respectively from Niger and the Kingdom of Morocco, whose names will be communicated by the countries concerned to the President in office. The Minister Delegate in charge of decentralization, Hamadou Mohamed Aramis, received today in his cabinet Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Japan to the Republic of Djibouti, Koshi Yonatani. On this occasion, the minister presented to the ambassador the activities undertaken by his department. He also expressed the wish to develop Japan's cooperation, especially to implement projects to open up the most remote rural areas, but also to meet the basic infrastructure needs of its people. In his turn, the Japanese diplomat thanked the minister for his welcome while expressing his pleasure at meeting him by noting that decentralization is at the heart of the country's transformation. He also thanked him for the clear presentation of the missions and challenges facing his department. The official working visit of the Army Corps General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Republic of Djibouti, to the Kingdom of Morocco from 9 to 12 April 2019 as part of the reinforcement of bilateral military cooperation between the two sister countries was the opportunity for the Armed Corps General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Republic of Djibouti, to proceed on the Wednesday, 10 April, the presentation of the Declaration of Commander in the National Order of June 27 to Mr. Ibrahim Billeh, Ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to the Kingdom of Morocco, to Decree number 2019 and of March 13, 2019. This ceremony was organized at our embassy in Rabat in the presence of senior Moroccan authorities of the Royal Palace, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Royal Army Forces staff, as well as the ambassadors of Ethiopia and Japan to Morocco. A closing ceremony of training of trainers on the theme of protection of child was held this Sunday, April 14, 2019, at the International School of Judicial Police Practice Improvement. And this training, which began on March 31st, 2019, brought together 20 trainees from the National Gendarmerie, including 2 female staff. And these trainees had the opportunity to browse and study during this training international and national standards concerning the development and psychological and care of child victims. Chaired by Colonel Zakaria Hassan Aden, Chief of Staff of the National Gendarmerie, this ceremony saw the participation of Mrs. Jana Boumahond, a representative of UNICEF in Djibouti, senior officers of the National Gendarmerie and French Corporation. Thanks to this diligence and the interest shown throughout the duration of the training, trainees had certificates given to them by the personalities present. Expressing her thoughts at the end of the ceremony, the UNICEF representative in Djibouti, Jeneb Boumahond, congratulated the trainees for their performance and their dedication to the training. And as for the Chief of Staff of the National Gendarmerie successively took the floor to congratulate the trainees for their seriousness and thank the instructor, expert and international consultant on childhood while mentioning the fruitful cooperation between UNICEF and the Republic of Djibouti through the National Gendarmerie. Last Thursday, the Civil Protection hosted a training on the KSN 56 and 5S under the initiative of the Commander of the Fire Brigade Corps, Colonel Mahmoud Musa Mahmoud, National Director of Civil Protection. This formation, known as KSN 5S, is a Japanese methodology used by the U.S. Army in the management of their stock of equipment and vehicles. This quality work methodology has been leveraged by private companies such as Toyota and Panasonic to improve the quality and capacity of their production activities. The resident representative for Chika in Djibouti, Mr. Tori Tokowa, expressed their dedication to develop their expertise in this Japanese methodology. Director of Civil Protection, Colonel Mahmoud Musa, stressed the importance of this training. The East Africa Academy of Djibouti inaugurated yesterday morning at Ali Sebier, the first football school in the region of the country. Were present at this inauguration the prefect of the region, Mohamed Wabari Assowe, the president of the regional council, Omar Ahmed Wais, and deputy of the region, Abdou Sikiye Dire, the corps chief of DPS Army, Colonel Abdul Wasa bin Mohammed, as well as Mr. Mohammed Almi, and president of the academy, also took part in this inauguration, the customary chiefs of the region. The objective of this football school is to detect the best talents, but also to offer to the less talented SOJOG children aged 5 to 15 years old a socio-educational sports program entitled Education Through the Regular Practice of Football. And finally, the football school will begin these training sessions with 54 young athletes detected in primary schools and colleges. The training sessions take place on Friday and on Saturdays as well, morning and afternoon. A signature of a memorandum took place on Thursday at the premises of IGAD in Heron. This so-called signature is an exchange on best practices in youth engagement and prevention of violent extremism in the context of crime prevention. This ceremony saw the participation of the Secretary General of the Ministry of Justice, the Ambassador of the United States of America in Djibouti, and other parties such as the Deputy Mayor. The exchange resulted in the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the mayor, who defines a comprehensive program of bilateral cooperation in the field of including exchanges of practitioners in training, but also exchange of young people, civil society, mobilization, and crime prevention and violence programs. So let's not forget the Strong Cities facility, the systematic sharing of knowledge, skills, and lessons learned on building social cohesion and community resilience to prevent violent extremism in cities on an international basis through workshops, regional and international conferences. The International School of Africa, ISA, held an open house for parents yesterday to learn more about the opportunities available to students at this school. This ceremony saw the participation of the CEO of the Global Syro Group in Djibouti, Mr. Ayman Lufti Taha, as well as those responsible to the said school. The opportunity to also promote all the infrastructure and facilities offered by the ISA campus, composed of a range of spacious classrooms, science and technological laboratories, a center for communication and information, music and visual arts halls, and gymnasium and auditorium, as well as recreational and outdoor spaces reserved for sports, and finally a canteen and an infirmary and nursery. ISA educational offers is based on an international English language curriculum from the most recent American program. This curriculum program will be delivered by teachers of all nationalities.
Now we have up to grade 8. Next year we're going to open classes up to grade 8 from KG1 to grade 8. And we have maximum 20 students in class so that the students will have a lot of attention from the teachers. And we have also from KG1 to grade 8 next year, as I said. What's so special about our school is that our school is a school that shows a lot of care for the students, and at the same time we give them excellent academic program, the American Core curriculum, and we also give 3 languages, the English, the French, and the Arabic.
In granting us an interview, the Honorary Consul of India in Djibouti, Nalin Kothuri, said the following.
It's been a great pleasure to visit International School of Africa, and I'm very much delighted to see that we have a very professional staff here at the school who have been managing the school, and this is promoting English language and education in English, which was very much required here in Djibouti. And I congratulate International School of Africa, which has been managed by Mr. Ayman Sahara and his staff, and I congratulate again for their efficient work. Thank you very much.
Obituary: the White City, Tujora, is bereaved with the passing yesterday of a great lady, the late Handa Ali Salah, a monument of culture appreciated to her for her wisdom and great culture in the interpretation of traditional Djibouti folklore. The late Handa Ali leaves behind a rich repertoire of Afro-traditional songs and also a repertoire of religious songs in the RTD. Her disappearance leaves a great void with the Djiboutian population, especially with the girl who vibrated listening to her culture and religious interpretation. She leaves behind a large family, including 2 girls and several grandchildren. In these painful circumstances, the President of the Assembly, Mohammed Ali Humet, the Minister of Decentralization, the ambassadors Adam Dileita and Ahmed, the engineer Mr. Burkeita Saeed, lawyer Ali Muhammad Abdu, the whole of the management and the staff of the RTD send their deepest condolences to her family, including her brother Saleh Ali, her relatives and friends, and to the whole population of Tujora. All pray to the good God to welcome her to his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And now moving on to the international news, a new Palestinian government dominated by Abbas followers. And for more details, with Tariq Adnan.
The government is made up of many long-time allies of Mahmoud Abbas, although several small political parties are also represented. Several parties, including the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, refused to participate, calling for unity, government that will include Hamas, the ruling party in the Gaza Strip and Abbas' main rival for Fatah. Atif Abu Saif and Fatah spokesman in the Gaza Strip, who was attacked in March by a group of men in the Gaza Strip, warned the Ministry of Culture. According to experts, the Palestinian president's decision to entrust Mr. Shtayeh, one of his followers, with the task of forming the government was designed to further isolate Hamas. The two movements have been a loggerheads since Hamas took control of the Palestinian enclave in 2007 after a near civil war with Fatah, a year after winning the parliamentary elections. Mohammed Shtayeh represents Rami Abdullah, who headed the government since 2014 and was perceived as more politically independent.
Saturday, a storm swept east of Texas in the United States. Explanations.
In the United States, a storm swept east of Texas this Saturday. At least 7 people were injured in Franklin, the most severely hit city, which suffered heavy property damage. Many vehicles were washed away, power lines were blown out, and nearly 1,105 people were deprived of electricity. Weather Service issued level 4 alert on a scale of 5 for Texas, but also for Louisiana, southern Arkansas, Mississippi, and western Alabama, where gusts of up to 100 hours in heavy rain were expected to arrive this Sunday.
And that's all for this news. Thank you for following us on RTD channel.